5, 4, 3. Good morning, and here we are once again with another edition of Live from the Heartland. This is Michael James, your host for this morning's edition. It is the 20th? 21st? 20th of December in the year 2008, and we are broadcasting from the studios of WLUW on Loyola University's Lakefront campus here in Chicago, Illinois, right on the edge of the Great Lake, Michigan. This morning we're going to have a conversation with the Global Warming Organizer Manager for Greenpeace, Mary Sweeters, and we're going to talk about the environment. We're going to talk about global warming. We're going to talk about Greenpeace, past, present, future. Good morning to you, Mary.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
First of all, tell us a little bit about what Greenpeace does. Give us a little history of the organization. It's a name that's people know, been around for a while. Jack Weinberg, an old comrade of mine from the free speech movement at Berkeley, has been involved here in Chicago, and I know you know him. You are focusing on global warming, and you're new to Chicago, but your work is certainly cut out for you because there are a lot of challenges. Fill us in a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work to be done on the environmental movement. Well, Greenpeace is the world's largest environmental organization. We have about 3 million members worldwide, and we do work in 41 countries now. We actually just opened up offices in South Africa and in the Congo, in addition to our offices in Europe, Asia, North America, and South America, and Australia. And we are a campaigning organization. We use nonviolent, creative confrontation and grassroots organizing to advocate and to protect the planet. We work on issues from global warming, of course, which is what I do, to ocean protection. We work on toxics. We work to ban nuclear energy and prevent nuclear proliferation and promote peace. And we've been working since 1971. The story, some people may know it. It's kind of a big part of our folklore. With a small group of activists left from outside of Vancouver, Canada, to take a small sailboat up to Amchitka, some islands off of the Aleutian strand there, to basically put themselves in harm's way to physically block nuclear testing, underwater testing that was going on there. And they actually were not quite successful in their first attempt to go out there. They had some boat trouble. But when they came back, they arrived on shore to hundreds of people, supporters, journalists. Basically, their story had gotten out around the world, and they came back to such support. And basically, Greenpeace was born from that first action. The idea of bearing witness to an environmental travesty has now turned into bearing witness and now taking action in a peaceful manner.
Well, I think my first images of Greenpeace, which may have been this the boats going after the nuclear testing, but I keep thinking of whaling.
Sure.
And that the kind of image of Greenpeace early on was, besides people knocking on your door, trying to collect money, which I thought was you and I were talking earlier about an interesting way to fund the movement by paying people to go out and raise some money, because before that it was pretty volunteer or depending on liberals and other folks to give you money. But was these boats maneuvering around and trying to stop the whalers. And is that still a part of Greenpeace's activity, confronting the whaling industry?
Yeah, it definitely is. We have had quite a bit of movement in the last couple years on our anti-whaling work. We actually, several years ago, successfully helped to implement the worldwide international ban on whaling. A few countries don't follow this ban, notably Japan, and so we've focused our efforts in the last few years going down to the Southern Ocean and basically putting ourselves between the whales and the whaling ships. Unfortunately, Japan has continued their activity, and they often claim that they are whaling collecting specimens for scientific research. But we know that that's actually not the case. And so, yep, we're still definitely continuing our work.
Who else besides Japan? Is Iceland still going after whales?
I believe Iceland reinstated themselves into the whaling practice. They'd been out of it, I think, for a while.
And some native tribes in Alaska.
Yes, some do, I believe, and I think in that case it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
But I think Iceland, and I also believe Norway maybe practicing.
We've just come off of a really interesting political campaign, and many of us out there in WLUW, live from the Heartland, listener land, were quite joyed about Obama.
Right.
And you were telling me on our way over here that one of the things that Greenpeace has been working on, and you have been working on, you talked about in Michigan, was getting candidates who were running for office to focus on global warming and other environmental issues. And why don't you share with us a little bit about what the daily work was like on that and what you all did?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's been a big part of my life for the last couple of years. So Greenpeace has, we launched a big project within our global warming campaign called Project Hot Seat. Started in 2006. And the idea here was to build up members of Congress to be champions on global warming. We want to make sure that if a bill gets introduced in Congress, that it's what science says needs to be done, and we want our members of Congress to vote in favor of it so that we can reduce our global warming emissions enough based on what science says needs to happen. So my work, I started with Greenpeace a little over a year ago, working as a campaigner in southeast Michigan, and was working to show Congressman John Dingell, who is currently chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, which soon will be chaired by Henry Waxman of California. But we wanted to show him that his constituents were really concerned about global warming, and given his leadership position on the committee, that they wanted to see action from him, wanting to see strong legislation coming out of his committee. So we are definitely heartened by the recent turn of events with the election, and we're really looking forward to 2009 to have a Congress that will pass legislation.